Are you ready to create riches in your work and life? It's time for Shedding the Bitch Radio and TV, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negativity, so you can realize your dreams and life purpose and create and accelerate the riches in life you deserve. So let's welcome your ball of fire host, Bernadette Bose.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Shedding the Bitch Radio. And you know what? We're just getting into 2022, so we're just getting into some really hot topics, let's call them, core topics. And today is no different when we get talking about, not wasting your money on marketing again. So we're going to have a deep conversation about how important marketing and branding and sales are, but at the same time, how can you do it without necessarily wasting your money? Because, we don't want you doing that, right? So before I get into all that, let me just, especially as we get into 2022, I definitely have to thank, all of you new and ongoing listeners and viewers. We broadcast on any one of your podcast streaming services as well as on our Shedding the Bitch TV YouTube channel. And we are so grateful for those of you who have been following us for quite a while, and you're liking and tweeting and sharing and rating and subscribing to any number of our programs, as well as you're then getting new eyes and ears into our community. And so we are so grateful for that. But again, we also need to be definitely thanking our ongoing sponsors. North Georgia Tax Solutions has been a sponsor of the Shedding the Bitch community for a good number of years, probably going on our 8th year. And we can't do it without Debbie Snelling and her team, who really support small to corporate size companies in all of their financial and tax services needs all around the country, not just North Georgia. And she and her team are just absolutely fabulous. And they will do a bang up job for you and your business and or your individual needs. So definitely reach out to ngtaxsolutions.com and tell them that Bernadette sent you, and she'll take great care of you. As well as I had introduced toward the end of the year, 2021, introduced a new sponsor who's more local to Atlanta and to Georgia, and that's Up Top Roofing of Atlanta. Jay and his team have been part of my posse, I would say, for a good 6 or 7 years, and he has been following our shows and our community for a good number of years, and finally came to me late last year and said, I need to support you and want to sponsor you in your program. So we are so grateful for that and for him. And if you are in the Atlanta and or Georgia area, then please reach out to Up-Top Roofing of Atlanta, or ATL, at yahoo.com, and let Jay and his team take great care of you. All right. Well, let's get into our topic for today. Because again, you never have to waste money on marketing again. So our guest, Estie Rand, believes that every person can build a professional business doing what they love, earning buckets of money and having time for their life and family, and proper marketing is the key that unlocks it all. However, in today's works, mastering is largely confusing and misunderstanding. Join us as Estie breaks it down with clarity and direction so you never waste time or money on marketing again. So what we will discuss and what I want you to be listening for is how branding, marketing, and sales are all key to your success and key when it comes to marketing. But we're also going to talk about organic marketing. And I know some of you are a bit confused as to really how to make organic marketing work for you. So you'll definitely want to be listening for that. And for Estie and our rest of our community, especially if you're new, I always pose a rich question for you. And that's a question that will ground you in our conversation. We'll make sure you are listening for things that actually can impact and change and shift whatever you might be working on or dealing with in your work or life. So your rich question when it comes to this particular subject today is, what is that big struggle that you have when it comes to marketing, and especially if it's where you're kind of investing money and it's going right down the drain? So what is that one big challenge that you're having when it comes to your marketing? All right. Now, let me introduce you to our guest, Estie. She is an internationally acclaimed, award-winning marketing strategy consultant and speaker. After a decade-long career in the nonprofit sector as a chief information officer, she left her C-suite job in 2011 to build her company. As the founder and owner of Strand Consulting, Estie helps small business owners scale their business to 6- and 7-figure profits. Utilizing her skills and expertise in marketing strategy and analysis, she brought her business to 6-figure profits in less than 2 years without spending a dime in ad spend. Since 2009, serving as a certified professional coach, she has helped hundreds of micro business owners transform to fully scaled businesses with a 300% profitability, earning her recognition as the winner of Best in LA Business Consultancy 2018. In 2019, her podcast, Business Breakthrough, was featured on NASDAQ as a top podcast, and she's hosted the LinkedIn Influencer Summit. Wow. Well, welcome, Estie.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. That was a very glowing introduction.
Well, you are so welcome. And I'm going to pull out a lot of things, even from that intro, that I would love to talk to you about. But first, let us get to know you, Estie, as a woman and, not just the business side of things. Where do you reside? What do you do? And kind of, what gets you excited, especially what gets you excited about the new year?
Sure. So I live in Los Angeles, California. What gets me excited about the new year is this new energy. Right? People have this new energy. There's a new excitement. There's a new hopefulness. You and I were talking right before we got started that so much of all of our accomplishments are mindset. Mm-hmm. And so I find that the new year brings myself, my clients, my students, this renewed hopefulness, this renewed readiness to go after their dreams. Whereas, as 2021 was dwindling and they maybe some people hadn't reached all the goals they wanted to. Yeah. They start to feel badly, and then it starts to feel like, well, why should I bother? The last few weeks of the year, very few people are, some of my people, like, they'll push those last few weeks to reach those quotas that they wanted to do. And other people will be like, look, I just feel too far, okay, I'm just going to scratch this year. I'm going to start again next year, and no wrongs, no rights, no judgments.
Right.
But everyone comes into New Year with this kind of readiness. I was at the gym this morning, 6 a.m. And that's, I'm usually at the gym at 6 because I have small children, so I have to get back in time for carpool. And I was at the gym last week at 6 too, right? So Thursday morning I'm at the gym at 6. It's rainy. There's no one there, right? It's the end of December. It's the end of December. Nobody's there. This morning, I couldn't find a place to sit. Everyone, because it's the new year.
It's those infamous 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah, I should have been prepared. I should have gone earlier. So everyone's there now. I'm like, all right, got to clear out.
Right.
Get my bars back.
Right. Well, that's very cool. And so what is it now? I do want to ask, how does your fitness and that discipline of 6 a.m. in the morning, how does that feed your soul and feed the work that you do within your own business?
So I love to dance. Dancing is actually my fun. I go to the gym so that I can be strong and flexible enough to do my dancing. That's actually, and to carry my children. I have a 4-year-old who doesn't always like to walk. And my groceries. I'm a single mom as well. So, like, for me, the gym there's so many elements to it. It's strength and stamina. I start my day by moving. By the time it's like 7:30, I'm up. I'm like, I'm ready to go, as opposed to be like, okay, hit the news again. I've had many of those days as well. So it served me in my short-term and my long-term goals. The days that I start my day at the gym are better. And there was a long period where I was doing like deep meditation every morning. There was a period where I was doing like heavy gym every morning, like 5 days a week. I was there at 6 days a week. And then I couldn't figure out how to get the gym and the meditation into every day because carpool. And someone's like, well, why don't you just do it every other day? I was like, no, my perfectionist nature will not allow every other day. But you know what? I've been trying it, and it was a really good idea. So now I'm at the gym like 3 mornings a week, dancing 2-3 times a week, and deep meditation 3 times a week. I'm like, oh, okay, this might be what they call balance. All right.
Wow, I love that idea because I'll be honest with you, Estie, I've been struggling. I want to get back to the gym as of today. My plan is to be at the gym today. And then then mine is meditation / prayer and pickleball are like those 2 other things that I want to make sure I can do. Pickleball?
I don't know what that is. What's pickleball?
It's like a tennis, ping pong, badminton type of sport.
Fun.
Yeah. We can talk about that another day because I want to hear about you. But I love that idea. Because, so I am actually going to leverage that I have to
try
just
that.
kind of
I'm finding
it
it's
out.
really working. My perfectionist was extremely angry at the suggestion. It was like, no, maybe I'll wake up at 5:30. Maybe some days will be longer gym and shorter meditation. And none of that was happening. I was just like hitting snooze the whole morning because the overwhelm of trying to do something impossible was just making me dysfunctional. Right. And this new thing is working. And then I have shorter meditations throughout the day, or I'll meditate in the evening. But my morning is solid because I wake up 6 every day, and I'm either jumping out of bed to the gym or I'm jumping into, like, I'll meditate for like an hour and a half. Like, I'll do very deep. Wow. I do deep meditation.
Well,
I go psychedelic. I don't need substances. Yes. I go psychedelic with other music.
Well, being a single mom and a business owner, you need that deep meditation, I'm sure.
Yes. No joke.
Yeah, no joke. Well, let's talk about marketing, and especially let's talk about it in also a way that, being that it is the beginning of the year, get kind of helping all of our entrepreneurs out there, even corporate professionals, getting their head on straight about marketing and what they should be spending time on and what they're wasting their money and time on. So how do you define marketing differently? Because you must in the approach that you have, which we're going to get into. But how do you define marketing differently than other people do?
Sure. So my definition for marketing is 4 C's in one sentence. It's everything you do that creates and communicates value of your product or service to your target customer or client to convince them to buy. So the C's are create, communicate, customer or client, still C's, and convince. And any form of marketing that is missing some of those elements, it just won't work. And I've seen so many people do, 1, 2, 3 of those, right? Imagine their marketing creates value. It communicates value. It communicates it's the right people, but it never convinces them to buy anything. Then what was the point? Right. Or they create value, they communicate value, but to the wrong people to convince them to buy, and then they don't buy it. It's the wrong people. Or it's very convincing to the right people, but it never creates the value, so the people don't want to buy it.
Right.
And that's what we always think of, that like pushy salesmen. So those 4 elements I find are really key. The way I teach marketing, there's a blend of branding, marketing, and sales that really all come together. And I've worked even with some larger companies. My focus is micro businesses. Right? I hang out in the 6 and 7 figure profit space. Once my clients are doing multiple 7 figures profit, I'm like, you don't need me. Like, you can go play with other people now.
Okay. Well, wait, hold on a minute. So for those listening, and you're like me, you talk very fast, but those listening, define micro business again, just so they're clear on what that term means.
So in my head, a micro business is anywhere from a solopreneur, freelancer, like a 1 person, to like a 20 person company, and earning anywhere up to 7 figures and change profit. That's how I profit. That's how I see micro business.
Yeah, and I love that.
Because you can still be micro with $1 million profit. I have clients like this. They're still micro.
Right.
I once had someone come to me like, we have 30 employees, but a bunch of them are part-time. We heard that you work with companies up to about 20. I'm like, it's okay. I'm not counting your staff. It's fine.
Hey, if you can get more done if you can make more with less, go for it.
Exactly. I'm not counting your staff. It's fine. We're okay.
Right. Okay, then continue on. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that.
I'll say even in some of the larger companies, one of the big pitfalls is as they grow, they silo marketing, sales, branding, right? So they'll hire a branding firm or agency to do their brand. They'll have an internal marketing department, and then they'll have either an internal or external sales team. And no one talks to each other. And they end up with this huge mess. And so, I've actually spoken to some experts whose entire job is stitching together these departments. And in a micro business, you don't have that luxury. You are chief branding, marketing, sales officer. You're the chief CSR. Like you're it. And even when you have a small company and you have some staff, you've got to take ownership of all the parts. That doesn't mean you design your logo, and it doesn't mean you have to take every sales call. You do have to own all the functions, and you do have to have a sense of how they all tie together. Yeah, because they do work together. Your brand is that uniqueness of you that makes you stand out among what is now a global marketplace for everything from massage therapy to dinner. Yeah. Like your dinner could come from anywhere at this point, because your dinner might be some recipe blogger 6,000 miles away. Yep. As opposed to the takeout place down the block. Right. It's true. Instead of getting your local massage therapist, you might end up buying a massage from like a massive spa company based halfway around the world. Yep. So every practitioner is now in a global marketplace. And so what makes you stand out to your people, that's your brand. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the biggest marketing money wasters that I've seen is people who throw money at quote unquote branding. Right? Logos or business names, taglines, all that stuff. All that is a reflection of your brand. Your brand is the uniqueness that is you. It's the thing that makes you stand out to your people. And that's your foundation. You can't do any marketing until you know that. Right. Because your marketing just has to start communicating that. Right. And part of your brand is defining your people too. So that's foundation. When we teach it in our program, that's always first. With my clients, first, everything. If we don't have that, we have nothing to stand on. And then the quote unquote marketing, what most people think is marketing, and you feel free to stop me if I talk too fast. I do. Not two's a judgment. I talk quickly. Yeah. I'm originally from New York. California has tempered me a bit, but I am a native New Yorker. I'm from Philly in Atlanta, so I totally understand. Yeah. So you get that tempering, like some of my LA friends are like, slow down. So I don't know what you just said. Once had a client from like Orange County, like native Californian, and he was just like, and anyways, Estie, I was thinking, I'm like, can I record you and play you on 2X? This is hurting me. I can't do this. I love you. I'm just not wired this way. Right. So true. It's so true. All right. So we have. So yeah, marketing. Most people think marketing is what I call promotion. It's just getting people's attention. Right. And that's what most people define as marketing. And that's another huge marketing money waster, number 437. You call it marketing, but all it is attention. And that attention is only one of 12 key elements of a marketing strategy. Yeah. And so you've gotten attention. Did you get the attention of the right people? Did you get it in the right way? Do you have an offer that they're interested in? Do you have a message that makes you stand out? Do you have a sales path that they're going to follow? And just that attention getting piece is not enough. Right. You know, I can't count the number of clients who come to me where they've invested money in a website, in a brand, in a SEO person or a social media manager or whatever. And they're like, but I put all this money into marketing and it didn't work. I'm like, no, you didn't even know what marketing was. Right. You put all this money into one element of a marketing strategy and you didn't have the other pieces lined up. Yeah. So let me ask you a question before we go on. And coming from corporate myself, I totally get the dysfunction between those what I'll call departments, because that's how they set up if you look at a hierarchy, right? Correct. So is your recommendation, do you because I work with mapping out the hierarchy for even small businesses, do you map it out to where it is one box of which all three live in, and then if so, how do you manage, even in a micro business, how do you manage the inferiority or superiority that sales has over marketing and marketing has over, how do you suggest they reconcile that? I once had a sales guy on my team, and we had this argument, right? Who's more important, right? Sales or marketing? I was like, well, let's see. You work for me, so you're sales, I'm marketing. That's our hierarchy. It was a fun conversation. So I'll tell you what it is. For me, I map out the strategy, right? The framework that I've created over the last decade plus, we actually call the marketing map, right? Because the strategy is just a map to reach your goal. And so when you have a marketing strategy, you have all the moving parts. Now, how that's delegated out, to me, it's not a hierarchy. It's equality is not the right word, because equality already connotes that there's a possibility of hierarchy and we're on the same plane. It's a synergy of working together so that everybody wins, where the brand is not a department. The brand could be internal, external. The brand is just figuring out what do we stand for. And that could be everybody. That could be just the owner. That could be hiring someone from the outside to help them identify it or figure it out. So the brand just comes, the brand is, and you have to kind of unearth it, right? When someone tries to create a brand, it could be taken away because someone else could create the same thing. So the way I do branding is connected to the essence of what the business actually came forth to bring to the world, right? The marketing and sales, marketing's job is to create the thing that people want to buy and get attention. Sales' job is to get those people whose attention we're getting to get to buy that thing. Right. Now, if those people are not the same human, and sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, or even the same humans or the same companies, if they're not communicating, you're going to lose a huge amount of information, of money. They should be talking, if not every day, at least every week intensively. They should be on the same page where marketing is saying, okay, this is the thing we think we want to sell, and this is the reason why we think so, and these are our people, and this is what we're doing to get their attention. And then sales has to say, oh, well, that attention thing seems to be working because we're getting all of these people, and this is what's happening, and these are the conversations, and this is the feedback. Right. And if there are problems, sales has to come back to marketing. And again, when you're one human, you have to have these conversations with yourself out loud in your head. It doesn't matter. It's you in your office. And if it's you doing the marketing and you've hired a sales agent, you and the sales guy need to be talking daily to weekly if you're actively selling, right? And you need to be getting the feedback of, you know what, people are really pushing back on the price, right? So either we need to change the price, change the people, or change the value proposition. Something's off. Right. Those conversations have to happen. And so to me, it's not so much of a hierarchy of marketing over sales. And I know in corporate, there's a lot of this that my sales guy has because he came from a corporate space. It's a matter of how do we work together for the betterment of the business, all of us stakeholders inside it, and all of the people that we're serving from it. Yeah. Because we're in business. Again, I believe in business to serve. Right. I don't believe in business to manipulate or to take or to money is energy. It's an exchange of value and energy. You are putting out energy and providing, and you do a receipt for that, right? I love money. I'm a big believer in it. My mottos for all the years have been more money, less headache, right? So money's fantastic. You want to give something, you want to receive something. Right. That exchange needs to be there, but so does the exchange of communication and respect. Right, right. So when you say, and the title of the show is, never waste money on marketing again, is that because of the fact that too many business owners are looking at only one element of the whole, marketing chain, so to speak, or is it for other reasons other than putting all your eggs in the attention, bucket? So I would say if we want to give a global reason why, if your marketing's not working, if you're wasting money on marketing, there's only one of two reasons, or both. Either it's incomplete or it's misaligned. So either you are putting all your attention on one or just a few things and missing others, so it's incomplete, you haven't gotten all the pieces, or you have all the pieces but they don't match. Mm-hmm. So you've got a brand and you've got a message, but your salespeople aren't actually using your message. And it's your attention-getting strategies are actually targeting the wrong people, because you've decided that Facebook ads are a really good idea to reach 12-year-olds. It's misaligned. You've done all the things, but they don't match. Right, right. Or you brand yourself and your messaging is premium, but then your prices are standard. And people look at it and they're like, this just feels weird. It's misaligned. Yeah. So it's typically one of those two things or both, incomplete or misaligned. Okay, all right. So, and you say that there's 12. There's 12 elements of a marketing strategy. Yeah. So I can go through them if you want. We can play. Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay. We start with core brand. This is the uniqueness that is you. It's the DNA. It's the everything that you stand for. It's what you come to provide to your people that makes you stand out among everybody else. Then I have what I call branding roots or elements. And you'll find in my 12 parts, you'll find every possible marketing, salesing, branding thing you've ever seen out there in the world. I will show you where it goes in this framework. So in the branding roots are things like your brand archetype, your USP, your vision, mission, your brand story, all that stuff. These are just elements that deepen and strengthen your brand, right? They're elements that are unique to you, and they help define and amplify
Okay.
what it is you stand for. Then we have the branding, I guess you call it like the representative branding, the graphical brand, right? So this would be your logo, your tagline, your name. What represents your brand? Because this is important, right? How you show up, how you reflect this, that's number 3. Number 4, we have our target audience. And I usually do target before we do the branding, the graphical and linguistic branding. But I have a graphic organizer that I designed for it, so I run through that in my head when I say this to you. I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at the picture in my head of the graphic organizer that we use to teach it. So that's like kind of the design of it. So the target audience, I call them the ITC, your ideal target customer or client.
Right.
We go after the ideal. We accept others, but we go after the ideal.
Right.
Then we've got 6 Ps. So we've got product, positioning first. What's our position in the marketplace, right? High, low, medium, rocky. If you remember that jump rope game from a million years ago. Where are you perceived? What's your competitive advantage? Where do you fit? What's happening? How are you going to stand out amongst what else is there based on the uniqueness that you bring and all that stuff? Then you have product. What's the actual thing you're selling? Yeah, I've worked with service businesses for over a decade. My specialty is in micro-service-based businesses, although I do a lot of I almost want to call them soul-based businesses. I don't have a good name for it. But, niche fashion and food service and artisans, people who are coming similar to service. You're coming with a thing that's you.
Right.
You have an idea. You have a gift. You have a talent. You have a creation. You have a something you want to businessify.
I was going to say creative, it sounds like.
Yeah. So there's a lot of creatives in that space as well.
Yeah.
But when you're a service-based business, how do you productize it, right? What is the thing you're selling? Is it just your time? Is it the result? Is it the transformation? Are there online courses? Which is like, as a colleague of mine said, she's like, online courses are like the cool girls MLM. It's like, oh my God, come on, we're going to make an online course to make $1 million. Let's do it. Isn't it great? Like, I love you.
That's a whole other conversation there, Estie.
We can go through that. And I've been working in the online information product space intensely for over 4 years. I know every tool, every in and out, every option, every failure, every success possible. I'm like, okay,
we're not going to have enough time. That'll take us like days of conversation.
We can do another one. We could do another one on that. So you've got product, you've got price. Okay, again, these are all things that create and communicate the value of what you're selling to your people. So what are you charging? And what are you charging? Again, each one comes from the other based on who you are and who your people are and what you're bringing to the market and what you want your positioning to be, what your position actually is. Right? When you are brand new, all right, I'm a little bit blunt by nature. You're like a brand new coach. You have no experience at all, but you see coaches who are charging $400 or $500 an hour. You're like, why not me? Why not me? What standing do you have? I'm not saying no.
Right.
But on what basis?
Well, where's the proof?
Where's the value proposition?
Yep.
Now, if you're a brand new coach and you've got 20 years experience in a specific industry and now you're using it in this way, please, by all means.
Right.
Because you have a value proposition.
Yeah.
But I think you and I and many have seen people who are like, they just choose a number because why can't I just choose any number I want?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Without any thought to the value that they're providing behind that number. And so price is a significant factor, but it's got to have a basis.
Absolutely. So what's number 6?
So number 6 is your presence. And I take this as an extrapolation of the old marketing piece called place, which used to refer to retail channels. So now it's your presence, whether it is online, in the physical world, whether it's retail channels if you have a physical product, your social media presence, your web presence. How do people find you when they look for you? When someone looks for you, how do they find you? So this is kind of passive. This is a passive form of your quote-unquote marketing. When people look for you, what do they find? Right. When they search your name. When I go, one of the first things we do when we analyze our clients' online presence, I go incognito, and I just Google them, and I Google their business.
I do too.
I did that to one of my people recently.
Yep.
There was almost nothing there. She's like, oh, my gosh. I was like, let me Google my name just for fun. Like, I own just like the first 20, 30 pages of, I feel bad. I'm actually about to change my name. By the time this episode airs, it might be different, which is another story. But it's fine. It'll all work. But it's a funny story to choose to change your name when you're a marketing and branding expert. And the first 30 pages of Google on your name after spending 10 years, 12 years building it. Yeah. Another story.
Another story.
Another story. We have so many. Presence. After that comes promotion. Promotion is what most people think is all of marketing. Promotion is when you get people's attention. And it doesn't have to cost money. It can.
Right.
Typically, any kind of money spent on advertising is like fuel on a fire. If there's no fire burning, you've just got wet logs, and they smell.
Yeah.
Right? But if there's a fire burning, we'll amplify it. So if you haven't figured out how to get business in any reliable, consistent way, and then you throw money at it, you have not improved anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
So true. It's so true.
You've put fuel on a non-burning fire. Get
Right.
the fire burning, then please by all means throw money on it, get it to burn brighter.
Right.
And so I teach a lot of forms of promotion that don't cost money, even if people don't love networking or they don't like social media. Like there's so many options. I at one point created a guide a few years ago, 167 promotional strategies to grow your business. I need to update it. At this point, we'll be over 200 easy.
Yeah, easy.
Keeps changing. Easy.
Sure.
And after promotion, we have process, which is the sales process.
Which is specifically the sales process? Okay.
Which is the sales process.
So then when you get back into the 12 attributes, I think we were on number 7.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6. And then within the sales process, we break down 3 of them.
Okay.
But it's 2, 3. It's the pitch and the hourglass, which are the last 2 tools. So your pitch is the verbal or written messaging that guides people through understanding what you do, what you're going to do for them, and why they'd want to buy it.
Is it, because when people use the word pitch, is it the elevator pitch? Is it a longer, conversation pitch? Is it all of it, and you just take pieces of it?
So it's a framework. So I teach frameworks, right? Okay. So it can be applied in all the settings. So when I teach it, I call it the triangle pitch because I'm very visual. So I use a lot of graphic organizers to teach, and you can use it everywhere from an elevator if you want to social media DMs, to a networking event, to a conference. It can be a short conversation, a long conversation. It expands because it's a framework that you use to introduce yourself and then learn from the prospect, if they're an actual prospect, what they might need from you, what you can provide to them, and then how you might serve them and how to communicate that. So it's a framework.
Wow.
And that framework is a really significant marketing tool. Even when I work with business owners who aren't doing their own sales, right? They're hiring it out, either to a company or to an employee or a team. This is the framework that the team will use, right? Because you'd be surprised how many salespeople don't have one. I love your face.
I know.
You're like,
I have to remember that we're on radio as well, so I have to actually make a noise of shock. So let me just say, huh? Yeah.
And then the hourglass is how you create stable and reliable recurring revenue, self-sustaining. Okay. Right? So that's how you then take this thing and you make this sales process something that feeds itself.
Right. And it's it's almost as if it's on autopilot at that point.
Yeah. Essentially, yes. And it doesn't mean you just sit back, right? All of these people, I get calls, oh my gosh, too often. For a while, they were coming weekly. It was just high season of people who are watching all of these digital nomads on social media with their laptops on the beach going, why don't I have financial freedom and I want passive income? I'm like, honey, who do you think made that video of her sitting on the beach that you just saw?
Right.
Where did that come from?
Right.
No, but one of my people called me. She's running like I think she did like $500,000 this year, okay? And she's like, I don't have any passive income. I'm like, okay, do you make money while you're sleeping? She's like, yeah. I'm like, that's passive income. She's like, I don't have an online course. I'm like, okay. You need to have a breath, okay? It's not all these definitions and everybody an expert, and I get very mad.
I do too. What do you see shifting or happening in 2022 that, maybe some people are like, oh my gosh, thank God that's over.
I've seen a lot of that. And then someone sent me this meme that was like it was a gif of Joey from Friends having this like aha moment. And it's like when you realize that 2022 sounds like 2022.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord and me. No.
I'm sorry. No. It's a no. We're a no. We're a no.
No.
No, I still remember right before the beginning of 2020, we're all like, 2020 foresight. And everyone's getting excited and glasses, and then, oh my Lord.
Yeah. But do you see anything kind of shifting, disappearing, changing?
I see that we're in a stage of amplification, actually. That's what I think. So I think everything's a bell curve. I'm very mathematical, actually, for a marketer. I'm like a weird right-left brain combo.
Right, me too.
I was a CIO for many years, so I do database architecture, and I speak geek, and I do a lot of numbers, and Excel's my favorite toy in the whole world.
Yeah.
So everything's a bell curve. And I think when we come, when I started this really 12 years ago, I've been doing it full-time for 10, and I started it part-time already 12 years ago. I thought it was the beginning of the small business boom. Like, that's what I said for years. Listen to interviews I've done 5 years ago, back in 2011, at the beginning of what was a small business boom. I don't think so anymore. I think we're in a small business revolution. I think that the face of how we do work and business has changed irreversibly.
Absolutely.
Through the events of the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
And it's only growing as more, a lot of people are talking about like the Great Awakening, right? And I think that we are in the amplification stage of the bell curve right now. I think we're going to see more and more people trying to go on their own. We're going to see more and more people, as every marketplace starts to flood, right? You have more of everything. When I started doing this, small business consulting was not a thing. Right. I met with a McKinsey headhunter who was like, no one will hire you and no one will pay you until you have another 20 years of C-level experience. And no one does small business. I would meet people and be like, but why would someone hire you? Like, small business owners either have it or they don't. If you have it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. Like, this idea of a small business owner getting help did not exist then.
No,
I had to explain to people what I could possibly. Now people meet me. They're like, okay, so what makes you different?
Right, exactly.
It's such a thing now.
Right.
I'm like, oh, let's get started. Okay.
Yeah. But from a not a macro level, but more specifically from a marketing level, like, is social media the form of social media, or the fact that everybody was running to groups and to LinkedIn and to,
we're going to see more and more niche. That's what we're going to see, because that's what you see every small marketplace expands, right? So when you have a small marketplace and you have a new and emerging marketplace, you have a couple of players who do everything, right? Think of the local general store in a town. They carry everything. As the town grows, more and more stores open up. Each store starts to specialize. You have a big city and the store sells just fuzzy socks. Right? Why? You have a store that sells just fuzzy. Would you ever find that in a little town? No. Right? Because any marketplace, as it expands, it gets more specialized. And so I think we're going to see more and more specialization. Every social media platform has its tools. Because I study this and teach it, and I learn a new marketing strategy pretty much every day, but at least 3 a week. That's like my rule, but usually every day. Even within the social media ecosystem, each platform has a dozen or half dozen reliable strategies anyone can employ, depending on their thing. So we're going to find more and more of these niche businesses, niche practitioners, because really when you think about it, I meet a new coach at least once a day also, wherever I am, online, offline. And how many clients does a coach or a counselor or a guide need? Not that many.
Right.
So each one super specializing with their people and their thing, and each marketing tool becoming more specialized for its group and how it's used and what's done. And the only place that people can really trip up is when they think they need to do all of it.
Yeah.
Because they don't. You just need one.
Right.
And if you're like me and you like having backup, great too. Right? But once you've mastered one, you can master the next one.
Yeah.
It's not haphazard. You don't trip over it. You figure it out, you strategically set it up, and then you run it, and then you test it, and you iterate it, and you perfect it, and then you build the next one.
Right.
Marketing is not what's the phrase? I forgot. But it's basically, it's not haphazard, right? It's not like you throw spaghetti at the wall and you hope something sticks. That is not marketing. It's just how so many people do it.
Right.
Now, there's also no guarantees. A marketer that tells you they will guarantee you something, they're either stupid or lying.
Right.
There's no guarantees, but there are strategies. There are reliable ways to do things that when you do them right and you monitor them, they will bring you results. They will guide you on the path towards finding the thing that works to reliably and steadily and then self-sustainingly bring you money.
Yeah. Now, what do you find to be the biggest mistake business owners are making when it comes to the blending, but like let's look at all of it as if it was one. What is the biggest mistake you're finding out there that business owners, as they go into a new year, need to get addressed if they want 2022 to be prosperous for them?
So I'm going to say the biggest mistake is when people go against their gut and go against their own nature and against what they know they need to do or should do, because they've been convinced by a friend, a colleague, a business partner, a blog post, an ad, a whatever, that something is the thing.
Right.
Every time I sit with a business owner, one of the things we do in our program is we go through what I call the SWAN strengths. Every business owner has one of these 4 strengths, and you leverage your strengths to choose your strategies. And every time I meet someone who talks about how they've wasted money on marketing, because these are conversations I get into, it's always because they've gone against their strengths. They've been like, I didn't think I needed to do that, but this person said, and that person said they did, and so I tried it, and it didn't. Of course it didn't work for you. You knew it didn't. You knew it wasn't a match to you. You knew you felt this tremendous resistance toward it. You either didn't have the funds and you borrowed them in the hopes that it would work. You hated it, but you went anyways. You didn't like that person, but you invested money with them because your friend did, and she was successful, but then of course you weren't. Every single time. You got to listen to yourself. You got to listen. Yeah, of course. And I'll raise my hand too. I've been there. Yep. Before I mastered LinkedIn, I hired a LinkedIn expert, and it was a huge waste of money. It was an absolute. So I've done the same thing. Yeah, I've done the same thing. That's part of why, we have a LinkedIn program that I sell really, really cheap, because I just want people to understand how to use the tool, because they don't need to hire anyone. And if they do, they can hire someone to do it for them in the way that works.
Right. Right.
But they have, I hang out on TikTok a little bit, market research, of course, only.
Sure.
And I'm very, very diligent about it. And so I got hit with a LinkedIn ad on TikTok yesterday. I saved it because it's trying to make LinkedIn cool to the young people, and it did a reasonable job. I'm not going to say it did a perfect job, but it had, it was very expertly done. It was very clearly targeted at the 20s, the early 30s, hip, cool, on the edge, colored hair, styled people of this is the new professional kind of a feeling. And I'm like, ooh, I will save cool bits of marketing. I have files of ads, and now I have folders of digital campaigns. When I'm I save the really bad ones too, but I especially save the ones that I'm like, yes, spot on. That was well done. That was well done. How did we get here? Oh yeah, wasting because you went against what you knew. In this vain hope. We all know when we get to that place of but I don't know. Okay, I'm going to try this. No, that's never it. Never, ever it. Because when you come from that frenetic energy, that's all you're going to get back.
Right.
Sit down, learn it, learn yourself. There are so many options and so many tools and so many things you can do to grow your business. Pick the one that does speak to you. Pick the one that does fit your budget right now. Pick the one that does feel like a right start for you.
Yeah.
And go with it.
So I get a lot of because being a business coach myself, but I don't touch the marketing space. But I get a lot of people that are I'll sit there and say, Sue, you need to go and find a marketing strategist and get all your marketing kind of tightened up, right? And she's like, I just want to know how to make money. Tell me how to make money, and what do I?
That's how you make money.
And I'm just but you have to go over here first. I can tell you how to structure your business and how to set yourself up as a CEO and how to lead your people, blah blah blah, and all of that's going to lead to also helping you, build a business and to make money. So what?
It's that tactic glorification. I think if I were to put what I was just saying into another sentence, it's that glorification of the marketing tactic that's going to unlock it all. I just want to know how to make money. I just want to know what thing I should do to make it work. But it's not a thing.
Yeah. But the question that I would have is, so especially if they're new, although I work with businesses that are 3, 5, 7 years, I don't work with start brand new businesses, but I have many of them that will reach out to me and they want to make money today. I don't want to work on all that stuff, or I want to at least make money while I'm working on that stuff. So and when someone's listening to, these 12, areas of their marketing strategy, and then there's 7 P's within, and they're sitting there going, oh my God, this thing's going to take me forever in the day to kind of create and compile before I'm even making money. So what is your approach, and how would you answer that question about the amount of time it would take for them to kind of get their marketing strategy laid out, nailed down? So in the last couple of minutes that we have, what would you share about that?
Sure. So I would say like this. Sometimes when I start to work with a client, when someone comes into one of our programs, within the first week or 3, something that they've learned unlocks them, they're already earning more. My motto's always been more money, less headache, right? So if you're not earning anything, you need to get started. Mm-hmm. And if you have that mindset of, but I have to set everything up first, so yeah, it will take you longer. Right. But for me, I also work mostly with people who've been in business for 1 to 20 years, and probably most often 3 to 7 is a solid core group. And so once you come in, if you're coming because you want to be earning more money, something I'm going to tell you, something you're going to learn here from the beginning is going to unlock you. It's going to already change things. So it's not a matter of, well, it's going to take us weeks and months. It will take us a few months to rebuild the entire strategy so that you're on the track to be earning whatever you want, right? Our new program is called 10K months. So steady $10,000 a month profit that you can rely on. Yeah. That doesn't happen overnight. Might you close a new deal tomorrow? Most of the time when we were running these 6 and 8 week group programs, I had people closing massive deals before the end of the program. Yeah. Right. So it's not, but my goal is not to get you a quick win. It's like a microwave versus an oven. Right. I can heat you up really fast. I could tell you what to do to earn money tomorrow. I could tell you what to do. You could earn money tomorrow if you need it. But that's not going to be a lasting strategy for you to sit on for the next 6 months. So if you need money tomorrow and you need it tomorrow, no problem. Let's talk. I'll tell you what to do. But don't think you can repeat that and build a reliable business on it. And my passion is not for quick fixes because I like to be dispensable. If I was a quick fix dispenser, you would always need me. I'd be a dispensary, right? Right. Constantly, you have to. I have clients I work with, some of them for a full decade. Yeah. Because they're constantly earning more and their business is growing. They're opening new locations, all different things. But I don't need to be needed. I want to empower you. I can't empower you with a quick fix. If you need it, I can give it to you. And there are parts of it that will unlock you immediately. But if you want to build a real business, that's how real businesses are built. Yep. And all the people that come and they think there's just this one little trick or one little hack they're missing, it's not. If that's all you were missing, someone would have given it to you. And that is the one thing that I'm hoping will go away from 2021 in this new year is just all this hype of the fact that these individuals, because you're right, there's going to be more and more and more and more and more people. And then you have more and more people trying to help them. Yeah. And it's the blind leading the blind. Right. I'm not even talking about people who are malicious. I call them the Megs. Right. You've got 3 things out there. And then there's people like me and you. So you've got Meg stands for morons, experts of industry, and genius tacticians, right? So the morons, sound too good to be true, they usually are, right? They took a course in Google Maps off of YouTube that taught them that Google Maps is the key to unlocking every local business, and they'll sell you their marketing services, and you don't need anything else. Thank you very much. Like, you just don't even know what you don't know, right? It's not, you're just a moron. Yeah. Then you've got experts of industry. They know one industry really well. They don't know anything of how that interfaces, and if you're not exactly like them, it doesn't work. They have a genius tactician. That's the tactic. So they'll come with that Instagram hack, that Facebook group hack, that SEO, and if you have all your other stuff in place, it'll work. Right. But if you don't, listen, it worked for their other client. Must be you, not them.
That's awesome. Okay. So I would expect that everything that someone would need to know to reach out to you and connect with you and get their marketing strategy in place for 2022 and beyond can be found at estierand.com, correct?
Correct, and I'd even like to offer a free gift. If they go to estierand.com/free gift, at the moment there is a 3-day marketing success challenge there, which outlines some of these principles a little more in depth, have worksheets so you can actually work through some of these things on your own. It is free. We're going to be putting it behind a paywall. We're going to be replacing it with something else, but hopefully not just yet. So for now, if you go to estierand.com/free gift, they can get that and reach out to me with pleasure. Happy to help.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been awesome. I mean, Lord, talk about an absolute, not even an overview. I mean, a deep dive into marketing. I mean, you're going to have to go back, everybody, and watch this multiple times and listen to it multiple times. But at the same time, go to estierand.com, reach out to Estie herself, and look into investing in getting the foundation and the core of your business in place before you go running off trying to do, what it is you think you need to be doing, when you might find out that you don't need to, and you're going to be wasting money and time. And she wants you to never waste money on marketing again. Thank you so much, Estie. I so appreciate you being here. This has been fabulous.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
You are very welcome. And for everyone, I hope you thoroughly took notes. And if you didn't, grab a notepad and rewind and listen and or watch this again. And thank you so much for joining us today and every Tuesday at noon Eastern time, or wherever you might get your podcast streamed, or your YouTube at Shedding the Bitch TV, downloaded and watched. We appreciate it here in the Shedding the Bitch community and look forward to having you right back here next Tuesday at noon Eastern time. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for taking part in Shedding the Bitch Radio and TV with Bernadette Bose. We would love to know what your biggest takeaway was. Go to Shedding the Bitch on Facebook or YouTube and leave a comment. You can also subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts and YouTube so you don't miss a single episode of the show. And with your input, we can help other powerhouse women just like you find the show and decide if it's right for them. Learn more about Bernadette at balloffirecoaching.com. See you next week.